Yes. You know, we went through this weapon surrender form. Yes. There's no petitioner name and there's no date of birth. The respondent is not named and there's no date of birth. Oh. Now, the restrained person had actual notice and an opportunity to be heard. Yes. Former spouses, current spouses, or former domestic partners, parents of a child or children in common. Yes. I have 5 sons that you're keeping from me because of your delusion of thinking that you have jurisdiction of law. Now, I didn't receive actual notice. I didn't have an opportunity to be heard. I didn't receive actual notice and an opportunity to be heard in 2011. Yes. And there was a no contact order issued. And I gave you a copy of the expungement order from Guam. Yes. hmm Now, you're interfering in my custody rights. And I'm going to actually these child custody disputes in the foreign protection or dealing with custody of children, residential placement of children. Yeah. I did 7 hours of parenting classes, and they were parenting classes. Now, the proper venue and jurisdiction for such judicial proceedings shall be determined in accordance with Chapter 26.27 and in accordance with the Parental Kidnapping Prevention Act, 28 U.S. Code 1738A. My sons were actually kidnapped. You issued a court order when I was on unsupervised probation, yes, that you didn't have the jurisdiction to issue. Oh, and then you allowed for dissolution of marriage, and then you arrested me and served me at the same time. Yeah. And then I was on trial, and 2 court commissioners decided to reissue the protection order without waiting for the verdict of the actual jury. Yes. And then the jury found me not guilty. My record was expunged, and the court decided to not remove it. Well, that happens to violate the dissolution of marriage that was filed in May of 2000, May 24th. Now, I'm sure Judge Ken Williams realizes that when I responded, I didn't want a dissolution of marriage. I might have even given you a copy of the expungement. So that means I had no criminal record. There's approximately 50 pages of documentation that I did provide to the court. Yes. Now, let's say I provided a copy of the dismissal and expungement. Yes. Did the court interpret that I still had a criminal record because I was not found guilty on Guam, that I had an arrest record? What did the court interpret? Because after Heidi filed for a default dissolution of marriage, yes, a fraudulent default dissolution of marriage. Did the court realize that I had no criminal record and no arrest record? Because you never gave me notice and opportunity after that. Now that's child abduction, it's kidnapping. Now, for every cop that thinks that they don't have jurisdiction, you do have jurisdiction when it's federal laws. Just get me all the police departments, police chiefs, sheriffs in every county of the United States that think that every Secretary of State's going to accept your sworn oath of office because I'll sue every state of the United States right now. I will fucking put police in every state of the United States. Now, I spent the last 3 years sending over 2 million emails, making approximately 15,000 videos documenting, yes, the crime of child abduction. And your way of handling the problem is you ignore the problem, thinking that winning the election guarantees you the right to the office. Well, why don't you get me the Secretary of State? Every one of them that's run for office for the last 40 years. I want to know all of them that do think that you can be a corrupt city, county, state, tribal government, and you can still take office. Because I will actually sue. Now, your thought of winning the election does not take into consideration the sworn oath of office. Oh, Why don't you get me those oaths that supposedly somebody's going to subscribe? Yes. That you will support and defend the Constitution of your respective states. Yes. The laws of your states. Yes. And the United States Constitution, because your election is so important. Because I'm telling you, okay. I find any state of the United States that actually allows for the oath of office to be admitted to the Secretary of State of any person running for election, and that individual has knowledge of child abduction and kidnapping, I will sue that state for $500 million every fucking time you do it. You're going to do what the law says. We just can't have corrupt politicians deciding they're not going to enforce the laws because they think it's inconvenient to their own elections. Yes, that they have to win without realizing that any person that subscribes any oath of office having knowledge of any of these crimes is ineligible of subscribing. So give me every fucking judge.